Have you ever heard a knock at the door in the dead of night, only to open it and find a child standing there, innocent at first glance, but something about them isn't quite right, something unsettling? These are the stories of the black-eyed children. It's always the same. You're alone, maybe in your car, tucked safely inside your home, when the knock comes. 3 soft, consistent taps on the door. You think it's just a kid, maybe lost or in need of help. But when you open the door, you're greeted with nothing but darkness. The child is standing there, their pale face illuminated by the dim glow from your porch light. Can we come inside? Their eyes black as night, no whites, no pupils, just endless pitch black voids staring back at you. Eyes that seem to pierce through your soul. Eyes that make you feel something wrong, something that doesn't belong in this world. And so the question remains, would you open the door if you heard that knock? Or would you turn away, knowing what might be waiting on the other side? Remember, the next time you hear a knock in the dark, you might want to think twice. Never know who or what might be standing there. The small town of Willow Creek was known for its quiet streets, friendly neighbors, and the kind of stillness that could soothe even the most restless soul. That stillness was shattered on a cold October evening when Emily Thorne received 3 gentle knocks on her door. She lived alone, nestled at the edge of the forest, where shadows seemed to stretch farther than they should. It was nearly midnight. The wind howled outside, rattling the shutters as Emily, startled by the unexpected noise, put down her book and walked cautiously toward the door. Her hand hesitated on the doorknob. She didn't get visitors this late, especially not in a place so isolated. Through the frosted glass, she could make out the silhouettes of 2 figures, small and still, not moving. She opened the door just a crack. A chill swept in, carrying the scent of damp earth and something faintly metallic. 2 children stood on her porch, a boy and a girl. They couldn't have been older than 10, both pale as the moonlight that bathed them. The boy wore a tattered hoodie, the girl a faded dress that looked like it belonged to another era. "Can I help you?" Emily asked, her voice weary. The girl stepped forward, her head tilted unnaturally to one side. "We're lost," she said, her voice flat, devoid of emotion. "Can we come in?" Emily's unease deepened. The children's skin was almost translucent, and their expressions were unnervingly blank. But what struck her most were their eyes, large, black voids that reflected no light. They were like bottomless pits, pulling at something deep inside her. She instinctively gripped the edge of the door, her pulse quickening. I don't think I can help you," she stammered. "Where are your parents?" The boy's lips twitched into a faint, unnatural smile. "We don't have parents," he said. "Let us in, please." It wasn't a request, it was a command cloaked in polite words, and Emily felt a sudden, inexplicable pressure in her chest, as though the very air around her was growing heavy. She stepped back, shaking her head. "I'm sorry, I can't. I'll call someone to help you." The girl's face darkened, her head tilting further, almost unnaturally. "We don't need your phone. We need you to invite us in." The words sent a shiver down Emily's spine. Something primal inside her screamed that she should slam the door, lock it, and never open it again. But her body felt sluggish, her thoughts clouded. Those eyes, those endless black eyes seemed to fill her mind, whispering things she couldn't quite hear. She took another step back, her hand trembling as it gripped the door frame. "You need to leave," she managed to choke out. "Now!" The boy and girl didn't move. Their expressions didn't change, but the air seemed to grow colder. The shadows around them deeper. The boy spoke again, his voice low and chilling. "If you don't let us in, we'll have to find another way." Emily slammed the door and locked it. Her heart racing, she backed away, her breath coming in shallow gasps. The sound of the wind outside grew louder, almost deafening, as if it were alive, circling her house like a predator. Then she heard it, a soft, rhythmic tapping at the window. Her stomach dropped. The tapping moved, first to the kitchen window, then to the living room, then to the back door. They were circling the house. Emily grabbed her phone, her hand shaking, as she dialed 911. But the line was dead. Nothing but static greeted her. Then the lights flickered and went out. Darkness swallowed the house, and Emily was left alone with the sound of her own rapid breathing. She grabbed a flashlight from the kitchen drawer and turned it on, the beam cutting through the inky blackness. The tapping stopped. The silence was worse. She moved cautiously toward the living room, every creak of the floorboards making her flinch. As she approached the window, she could just barely make out their silhouettes standing in the yard, motionless. The flashlight beam caught their faces, and Emily froze. They were smiling, wide, unnatural grins that stretched too far, revealing rows of sharp, jagged teeth. "We're patient," the girl said, her voice muffled through the glass. "You'll let us in." "They always do." Emily stumbled back, her flashlight shaking as she scanned the room, looking for anything she could use to defend herself. Then the pounding started heavy, deliberate blows against the door, the walls, the windows. It was as if the house itself were under siege. The sound was unbearable, but through it all, she could hear their voices, soft and in song almost, as if they were playing a game. "Let us in, Emily. It'll be easier if you let us in." Her name. She hadn't told him her name. Panic surged through her, and she ran to the bedroom, locking the door behind her. She crouched in the corner, clutching the flashlight like a lifeline. The pounding continued, relentless, but the voices grew fainter, as if they were moving away. Then silence. Minutes passed, maybe hours. Emily didn't move, too afraid to even breathe. Finally, she summoned the courage to peek out the window. The yard was empty, the frost beyond still and silent. But something wasn't right. The shadows beneath the trees seemed deeper, darker, and as she stared, she thought she saw movement, figures slipping between the trunks, too quick to follow. The wind whispered through the branches, carrying a single word that chilled her to the bone. "Soon." The next morning, Emily found herself sitting in the car, the engine idling. She didn't remember getting there. Her front door was wide open, and the house was eerily quiet. As she drove away, she glanced in the rearview mirror and saw two small figures standing in the middle of the road, watching her with their pitch-black eyes. She didn't stop. She didn't look back, but she knew they would.